term that we use in our profession called typecasting, and most people feel it's not a good word or a good term to be associated with. Oh, you've been typecast. So I remember being told right in the beginning, oh, if you do this maid's role, you'll be typecast, you'll only get maid's role.
So how do you pick up project? If I understand, I mean, it's a complete business. Like you have teams doing stuff, you have tech teams, you have the director who's basically like the bird's eye view, you have your co-stars. So when you audition for a role or when you get a new project, and if you have the option at that particular moment to say yes or no, what is that one thing that is your deciding factor?
Trust me, women aren't trauma bonding these days. They're actually sitting and finding solutions for every problem that we have. And it's true, no? We've been problem solving for years.
You have worked with both Salman and Ranveer. Which one is more fun on set? Welcome back to Life Unscripted, where we unravel the mysteries of lives of individuals who have done it all, who have gone through the journey of life one day at a time, one thing at a time, who have built on each and every day to become what they are today. Today, I have such a personality, an actress who has done it all. She has been an author, she has been an actor, she has been an anchor. She has found a niche for herself. She has acted in movies like Son of Sardaar 2, Gully Boy, Ready, Sultan. She has acted in series like Foundation, which is on Apple TV, Sacred Games, which is quite famous in India, reality shows like Rise and Fall. So let me welcome Kubbra Sait, a personality who needs no introduction, a personality who has a lot to talk about, a journey which is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Kubra, for joining me.
Thank you so much, Sharad. Thank you for having me here.
You were in Dubai in Microsoft. You were leading the dream life of many techies of, I think, today and back in the day, though, Microsoft was the thing. And you had stability. Like you could have gone up the ladder, you could have taken up and joined a different company. Basically, people look for stability after working for 2 or 3 years. But you, after working for 3 years in Microsoft, and before that also you had multiple jobs, you just left everything, came to Bombay and started something entirely new, which is scary because people always want to have a plan A and a plan B, and unless the second plan is in motion and they are making something out of it, they don't want to let go of the first one. So what motivated you? What actually came onto you, or how did you find this clarity कि नहीं भाई ये हो गया and now I want to move on and I want to do something else?
Wow. Well, that's a really loaded question to begin with because it's got so many layers. And there are so many hard truths just in your question, right? I grew up in a middle class family, and Dubai became a pivotal point of shift for me, not just in terms of my career, but the exploration of who I am as a person. Started from this brand new location or geopin in the world. And I was someone who had never taken a plane. I had never sat in a plane. And I was 20 at that point. And somehow I always had dreams of coming to Bombay, but my mom at that time was pretty certain that let her go to Dubai. She will be in a new place where she doesn't know the rules, she doesn't know people, nobody knows her. Let's throw her into the deepest end and see what happens. But she had always fueled me with this immense confidence. This confidence that we call the Dilulu confidence today. That kind of confidence. Ke bhai, kisi ko job mile na mile, tumko zarur milega. You think we have educated you for nothing? You will make it. And I remember her sharing emails with me at this point because snail mail wasn't as effective. Phone calls were very expensive. So once in a week, it used to be the messenger or the internet phone calls or the video calls or emails to communicate every day. So I guess I had a sense of championship and a support system, even though I was not at home. When I landed a job at Microsoft, which was again a lot of trial and error because I worked in 5 different companies before I made it to Microsoft. I remember starting at like the level where you are an outsourced employee. You have a green badge.
Yeah.
You don't have the blue badge, which is like the cool part about working in Microsoft. So one day the dream is you'll have the blue badge. But I felt like the journey was not mine. And I saw people enjoying this. I saw people actually being interested in technology, in the way technology was being marketed, because I was in the marketing teams for OEM. But I was like, no, I don't feel this. This doesn't, like, it was very exciting the first 2 years because there was a social status attached to it as well, right? For anybody who thinks and who knows that, acha, so-and-so's daughter is working at Microsoft in Dubai. It's a very big thing. And nobody wants you to leave that job at that point. So I guess for me, it was that excitement in the initial years. But once I set into the system, I felt very robotic. I felt I was clockwork. It was every day just checking in those hours, morning to evening. And I did my job. But I didn't have a personal motivation to be better at the job. You gave me a job, I executed it. But could I make this job mine? Could I make it better? That internal motivation wasn't there. So I felt I was being unfair to myself and to the job. And I remember just before we started, this official podcast, you said, "Arey bhai, हमारे देश में like काम की कमी है क्या?" Like the number of people who are willing to be employed today is like insane. And I truly felt, I'm sure there is someone who is much more deserving of this job than I am, because they'll be able to do it much better. What is it that I want to do? So I remember having one of those tough conversations with my mom itself. This was 3 years into working at Microsoft. And I called her and I said, "Ma, I think I want to quit Microsoft. I want to put in my papers. But when I move, I will move to Mumbai. It's always been my dream and I will be here." And she said, "Yeah, okay."
But डर नहीं लगा, like you are gaining
That's
some
the
sort of...
most constant thing, and it still happens. The fact is that no matter what we choose to do, no matter how much ammunition we have, whether it's education, whether it's a family backing, whether it's financial backing, whether it's any kind of support, you have to still be able to do it. You are the front runner of this dream of yours. And you will always be challenged by fear. But I think that Delulu confidence always existed. And I think Dubai kind of gave me wings, like literally, man. It put me on a plane for the first time. So for me, it was like amazing. I was like, wow, if I started ground up from here, I can start ground up from anywhere. And the beauty is every time you do it, and that's, I think, the beauty of, being an entrepreneur, being a business person, running your own teams, serving your own dreams. I think that idea is to constantly do something that you've never done before, but you always start from a place of experience. Like there were other soft skills that I had learned in Dubai that allowed me to navigate through the choppy waters of an alien town like Mumbai, where you're right, everyone has dreams. So why are my dreams bigger than anyone else's? But I think for me, there was this madness that, oh, I have nothing to lose. And I really had nothing to lose because this was my dream. I couldn't lose nothing in this. I really had to be accountable for myself. And I think that came with a lot of passion, and that's what kept me going every day. And it was never easy. Who said it's easy? Whoever said that it's going to be easy? But I never thought of it to be a struggle. I think I had the experience of writing emails to people. I can write emails, boss. I can write very good emails. Like, hello, good evening. This is over. This is great. Like, before ChatGPT was a thing, man, I've written emails. And emails is a very big tool to communicate. And I think I learned that only and only through an environment that was corporate. I honestly sometimes wonder why I didn't study arts. Why did I study commerce? Because that's the route to go. But if I knew what I wanted deep within me, which I think I didn't know at that time, like I couldn't stand up for my own belief system. I always wanted to do this. It was always a calling, you know. But somehow inside you, you are like, no, yeah, but everyone's studying commerce. This is the only way. We need to have a backup plan. But a backup plan for what? What is your plan, first of all? You don't have a plan, but you have backup plan. I think that's how we have functioned, you know. We don't have a plan. We don't have a
Definitely,
goal.
yeah.
But भाई साहब, हमको पता है कि गड़बड़ हुई तो हमको करना क्या है. So that mindset is the mindset I wanted to change for myself. And that happens when something good starts happening to you. And you start noticing. Like me coming in, going in for auditions where you know nobody. And then someone very sweetly says, it's not this audition. Go to that audition. You go to that room. And in that room, they say, you know what? We're looking for a maid in a big film. Come tomorrow for the audition. Done. So I went wearing maid clothes. I didn't know it was for the film ready. I didn't know it was going to be directed by the Anis Bazmi with the Salman Khan. And this is my first role. Like I think I'm an actor, but I don't know what it means to be an actor, right? I didn't have formal education. And like you said, अरे कोई भी मुंह उठा के actor बन सकता है. So that was my feeling as well. But this delulu confidence that you do, ask me to do anything, I will do it. I showed up in that audition, I remember, in a salwar kameez, and the casting director said, अरे ये क्या पहन के आ गए? I said, आप ही ने कहा था ना सर maid का role है. He said, no, hot maid. I said, oh, no problem, sir. I have other clothes in the bag. And I changed. And I did, like I was sitting there and I thought I'll have to like face the camera, I'll have to do something else. But no, the director came in. There is a serious visual separation in the hierarchy that exists in the culture, you know, space that we are in. You know, the director walks in and says, "Acha, acha, mere, हाँ, ठीक है, ये ठीक है." And that's how I got my first role. Only because I guess I allowed the story to reveal itself. And I feel it's still revealing. And like earlier this afternoon when we were talking, you said, no, people just, you know, think that they are entitled. कि हमको ये भी चाहिए, हमको वो भी चाहिए. But एक sense of भाई यही है, उसका acceptance becomes a very big tool in your toolkit. Acceptance changes a lot of things for people and changes many directions and allows you to have the confidence to explore many different directions.
So I think you are talking from a place of a lot of clarity. With clarity, I think
now the clarity has come.
Still, like back in the day.
Earlier, I was in an escape room.
But you see, okay, we'll get to that. But when you say that, okay, you just went to an audition, you were consistently going for auditions and you just wanted it. And you were willing to put in the work to get it. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's exactly what you said. That comes from a place of clarity in the moment. Like thinking on your toes and being clear that this is exactly what I want and I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm going to get this. So at that point, coming from Dubai, what gave you this kind of confidence? What gave you this kind of clarity? Something in your journey, probably, like something taught you this. This is not something that is engraved.
Yeah, so I think, you know, when you decide to take a chance and take a bet, you realize that everything that you have is yours. And I felt like this delirious confidence in me, which was like, I honestly have nothing to lose. So
how did you build this confidence? Like, see, you were working in a corporate environment, and that environment has hierarchies. So there is very little room of being, too confident and coming out loud and saying something out loud, because it is like a two-edged sword. It can go both ways.
yeah.
But here you are talking about you were so confident, and it gave you a certain drive, I would say, that okay, this is something I want and I'm gonna work my best to get this. and it's not gonna be any other way. It doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter where it is, as long as it makes sense and as long as I can understand it, I can do it. If I can sum it up. So this confidence at that early age, when you have just moved and you're trying to build a new life, people would like to find that stability कि यार वही ठीक था, because I believe there might be
comfort
sleepless
में
nights.
growth नहीं है ना शरद. This even and if we weren't this far, we would be high-fiving each other. You
Yeah,
understand?
definitely,
Like,
yeah.
there is no growth in comfort, na. And mere liye that blanket, it's like, oh, it's that memory. Sometimes a blanket is nothing but a memory. It doesn't fit you anymore. But your baby blanket, which used to give you the most comfort, it doesn't fit you anymore. And once you realize that this is just comfort, but it doesn't fit me anymore, I think you then go outgrow and you do something for yourself.
What was that realizing moment?
I don't know. I just felt, okay, so this is a little visceral even in my own mind. But I remember I used to juggle between the idea of two jobs before moving to Mumbai, right? So I did have a corporate job. But on the weekends, I used to have an alias called Sarah. And I used to be on the radio. Okay. And I used to do live ground events in Dubai. So I used to drive, go to that global village. And I used to host events for the Indian radio station in Dubai. And somehow I felt that every time I was on stage and I came back home, I had the most beautiful sleep. It was the most relaxing sleep.
Fulfilling, I would.
It was fulfilling. It was this feeling of I'm happy. I got to do what I love to do. And I just needed to chase more of that. And I feel that is confirmation bias. So when you come to Mumbai and then you're met with this first audition, your first ad, your first event, you know that you will still make it. And this is not confidence for anyone else, because right now, in this new phase of my life, I was not proving to anyone else. I was literally like, hey, listen, this dream that I had, is there any value to it? Is there any merit to it? I was figuring it out for myself. And yeah, I think I really loved this whole idea that, because I was pretty clear, like anyone else, plan B was 6 months later, if this doesn't work out, I'll go apply for another job and I'll work somewhere else in the world. You have a degree, no?
कुछ तो हो जाएगा.
कुछ तो हो जाएगा ना. We studied commerce, why it was plan B.
So now I think the scary part would be that now the wheel has started moving.
This is the scary part.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
have
true.
had a taste. Things can still backfire. So how did you manage to keep that wheel in motion and at the same time pick the things that you really wanted to do? So for example, I believe that after your first gig came the second, then the third, and then came options. So now selecting from that options, because if the wheel breaks, again, you have a plan B, of course, but now the plan B will sound difficult.
So I wasn't working a career which was, like the wheel that was only gathering the kilometers and like the distance, but I was also trying to make this distance kind of related to a purpose at large. Okay. And what I felt at that time was the more open I was to opportunities, the more kind of opportunities I was receiving. Then my bigger challenge became time management. So first management was money. Like, do I have the basic revenue to run my living and my basic upkeep in this very expensive city called Mumbai? I had lived in Dubai, but I realized the rents were just as much. Like, you went out to eat a good meal and it was costing you just as much. There was a cost of living to live in this city, and I needed to first cover up that. So for me, volume of work started with events. And anything that you do, you get better at it. The more you do, you get better at it. I was getting very good at hosting events. I was also going for auditions. I was doing some ads here and there. Then I started realizing, oh, maybe I like this also a little bit. So now can I budget my time? Because, oh, great, now I'm doing well in events. This is how much I need to run my household. So what am I left with once I've achieved that number? Time. Let me make use of my time to like hone my skills as an actor, read up a lot more. I used to take a lot of vacations during my events because, as a part of corporate events, when I used to travel, I used to travel all around the world. So I used to always extend my trip and stay back. Then I started using my time to just travel.
Okay.
Then I put in another element, which was adventure, wherein I wasn't only battling my work challenges and fears, but I was visibly able to face fears. So I learned how to dive. I started climbing mountains. And I started making myself a bigger person for me. Like I wanted to be invincible for me. And I think it
That
was
perfectly
all
makes
very,
sense. I mean, that's your
yeah,
purpose.
oh my God, thank God. I thought I was like sounding
No,
bizarre when I
it
was saying that.
ultimately it's you who's supposed to be happy. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
that's
I
the
was
motto of life.
really, yeah, and I felt I was walking on that and I was receiving. I wasn't chasing joy.
So now, since
Because
you're
it was through a lot of adversities, I was still experiencing joy. So that's when I realized there is no way above it, under it, beside it. It's only through it.
my way or the highway.
Through
Simple.
it. Get through it. Like it's very important.
So now, see, you have, as you mentioned, you do diving, you do climbing, you have taken multiple sort of gigs, call it ads, series, shows, different type of roles. You have also termed yourself as undefinable at times. Now, what happens is,
Yeah, why be in a box? No?
no, but still, like the world would like to wrap their head around something which is more simpler. So we would always like to understand a person sitting in front of us and have our own aura. That makes us feel comfortable. But if you encounter a person who has multiple talents, it becomes difficult to comprehend कि यार इसको कहाँ fit करें. Like usually in our offices, we will always talk about getting somebody who can do it all, like a multi-purpose guy, if I may quote. But if you find a multi-purpose guy, then we try to search what is his core role. Like इससे क्या,
Yeah, because that person's not lost
because
with
then
their
you get
own skill
confused.
sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't you think that happened with you at any point of time in your career, that the directors or maybe the production houses or maybe the casting people, they had this kind of dilemma ki what kind of role would be fit for this person?
You know, there is a term that we use in our profession called typecasting, and most people feel it's not a good word or a good term to be associated with. Oh, you've been typecast. So I remember being told right in the beginning, oh, if you do this maid's role, you'll be typecast, you'll only get maid's roles. Because people see you in that vision and then they will be stuck with that vision. Many years later, when I had overcome this, and I'm talking about this happening to me in say 2012, and I'm talking about 2018 when Sacred Games releases, and it's the year 2017 when I've auditioned for this role when nobody knows it's going to change my career, life, none of that, okay? But I know I'm there, and when the show released, people were like, wow, that was very brave, that was very bold. What if you get typecast? I think typecasting allows you to get into the room still because people associate some certain features, emotional features even, with the way you look. Fantastic. It's giving me a ticket into the room, right? Let me go in there. Let me unbox my toolkit. Let me show them what I have. But I feel like when people recognize you for one thing, like how you were saying, you know, that person who has many skill sets, but you identify that one core skill. So if they identify one core emotion with me, I know I can explore more. But at least that one core emotion that I can deliver as an actor is taking me into the room. So I started feeling confident if people were like, she's very brave, she's very bold, she's very this, she's very, okay, very good. Now I can use these to at least make my entrance into the room. Sometimes As an actor, you feel like you need to have access to all the emotions. And the beauty is, this privilege is not just open to us as actors. This privilege is open to everybody who is a living, breathing human being. Because we all go through these myriad emotions.
I think you put it very well. Like, it's all about access. If you're different and probably it's just a ticket for you to get in the room. It can go both
You
ways, yes or no, but you still
you
get in the
still need to
room.
know that you can decide, no? Go into the room and know that you are the one who's going to decide if this is okay or not for you. Don't sit back already saying मगर हर room में ऐसा ही होता है. So then you're not even going to value the opportunity that is coming to you. And I think it's a core skill to have, that you're open to opportunities and know that you will be the decision maker at the end of the opportunity.
And now, as you progress, people start to look up to you. Like, okay,
Yeah.
they will
I
always be
find that
people.
very, like, it makes me shy, but yes.
But it is true. It is true. Like, people will, okay, she has done that. If she can do it, I could do it too.
Yeah.
Like, that there would be thousands of people having that emotion. Now, when that happens, sometimes being too straightforward, too open, or speaking your mind out may become a challenge, because you need to. So you've got to be politically correct or situationally correct. So did that ever bother you, or just speaking your mind was just the way it is?
I think the problem is not speaking your mind. I think even in, like, boiling it down to like basic relationships, it's not what you said, it's how you said. So I feel once you master the courage to still say
That
what
question
you
mark.
want to say, how you say it, I think you're sorted. And also, you need to have mad surety in the person that you are. Like, if this is not working for you, it is not working for you.
Got it. And how do you pick up projects? So
If you've picked up a project, for example, thanks a lot for leading me there. But like, once you've picked a project and see it's not going your way, and God knows that's happened to me as well, then you understand why you picked the project. Then serve only that part of it.
that anchor.
I've done this for money, make the money and leave. Then understand that this is the process that leads to making the money. If it was creative satisfaction, then draw the creative satisfaction from it, and don't confuse the reason why you chose the project. Or because you were the one who decided, the opportunity was present. You picked the opportunity. Now be decisive about your decision and see it through. Then don't come and cloud your mind. Then don't start giving reasonings. Then don't say, oh, दुनिया ही ऐसा है, लोग ही ऐसा है, मैं ही ऐसा है, मेरे साथ ही ऐसा होता है. That's the language where we get stuck in. I feel that's the language that prohibits our growth. But the minute your reason is clear and you serve the reason, finish it and leave. And yes, it can be very hard to do that. I've gone through it.
So how do you pick up projects? Like, okay, if I understand, I mean, it's a complete business. Like, you have teams doing stuff, you have tech teams, you have the director who's basically like the bird's eye view, you have your co-stars. So when you audition for a role, or when you get a new project, and if you have the option at that particular moment to say yes or no, what is that one thing that is your deciding factor?
So over the years, the reasons have evolved, right? Like I said, what I want to, who am I? Now I sometimes look at a project from the point of view of what can I bring to this project? Because I'm very fortunate and I really look at it as a privilege where I get to see beautiful scripts today, right? And there are good scripts. There are many not so good scripts, but there are few very good scripts. And I love to work with those scripts. But one other thing I think that has evolved for me as a performer, as an entertainer, as an actor, is the teams I'm working with. I love to work with creative minds and people who know different things than I do. So I like to work with a interesting bouquet of creative artists, because this is the place where you get to explore so many different things. So I feel like choosing the team that you work with, because then you choose to spend a significant time of your life with them. It could be 4 months, it could be 1 month, it could be 1 year. But essentially, as an artist, I'm forget the money, forget the fame, the adulation, put all of that aside because it's really the experience that comes first. So I personally today like to choose experiences with people, experiences with the script that's written. And I try to like blend all of this into it and make that as a reason to say yes to a project.
You just mentioned that there is a bouquet of creativity. I think you yourself have a bouquet of creativity and your own arts and your own talent. So now, when you have so much going on, how do you keep aligned to your purpose? Because as you mentioned that my whole thing or my anchor of choosing a project has been changing from time to time,
Yeah.
right? And the world moves on, your priorities change, but still you started it with a goal in mind. Like you always mention that you extend your trips, you always felt that there is a sense of purpose. Can we know what that purpose actually is and how do you keep yourself grounded to it?
It was really frivolous. But now I feel it's more grounded. But I remember when I came to Mumbai, the first time I ever said this aloud, I kind of was like, I said that aloud. But I said I wanted to be famous. It was important to me. Today I understand that it's nothing wrong to want to be known. Because when I'm known, it's interesting. People want to listen, yeah. And then I have to figure out what is it that's so meaningful that I want to say. So I feel like the purpose has always been that big picture, but everything has been the sum of its parts. And these parts can choose to like break down or continue to work, but the maintenance needs to be done. And I feel like I've been able to put those parts together consecutively through discipline, through motivation too happens, like, but really being disciplined about it. Like, what is it that I require? There are days when I lose track of time or I lose track of my priorities. When can you be kind to yourself? I think as people who've run our lives individually for a long time, you tend to have this innate sense of control. Like you want to have control over things. And I think the more and more you start creatively collaborating with people, you realize the lesser control you have over things. So just loosening your grip, trying to be more present in the moment, understanding things for what they are. I've realized over the years that I'm a far more emotional person than I would be like, credited for. Like people think I'm a more logical person than I'm a emotional person, but I'm a highly emotional person. It took me years to embrace that part of me. Once you embrace the part of you and you recognize it, it's easier to move on because that becomes your strength.
Off your shoulder, yeah. So now, when we talk about different things that you do, you are also an author. You've written a book. What was the first thing that you wanted to write about? Because see, now things are going your way. You wanted to become famous. You're already on a ladder to it. Now there is no limit to how famous you can be.
Yeah.
So you keep on climbing it, and you're getting work. You're getting that wheel of whatever you wanted to do in Bombay is now moving with a good pace, and it's not stopping. Now, being an author, it's again a completely different sector.
Yeah.
It's not about the performing arts. It's something more deeper, more intellectual, and it's basically getting your word out, which is written. It's not something that you said it today and then you say tomorrow, yeah, I was not in the right state or probably just slip of tongue ho gaya. It is written,
documented.
It's documented. It is probably kept in some place like a souvenir, which may be opened at some other date by somebody else.
Yeah, it's open. It's there now. It's access.
So why did you want to do that? I mean, what was going through? Okay, nahi, ab main book likhne wali.
Yeah, I just felt we didn't have role models for our age. As women, we just didn't know stories of women of our age. We were either learning from generations. We are that Venn diagram, like, this.
Yeah, I understand.
What am I, like, Gen? I'm millennial or I'm millennial, no? Yeah,
Yeah,
so we millennial people, we've got this thing where we are like, We're not old, we're not young. And we don't know who do we rely on. And we really rely only on ourselves.
We don't know
So
what
I
we are
said,
doing.
let me just go back and figure out for me, what is it that goddamn shaped me to be the person that I am. So I had to do this podcast basically with myself first and be like, okay, so this moment changed you. Great. You had one perspective to look at the story. Now you have more tools. Now you have more information than you had at that time. I feel we're only like the result of the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
So how can I, look at the story from more ways than one and humanize the situation for what it was? And it didn't matter if it was good, it was bad, it was chaotic, it was stressful, it was painful. It was just light, effervescent, and great. It doesn't matter. But what is it about that moment that shaped me? And I went through many such moments. So it was interesting. When I started writing the book, my literary agent was very kind to me at that time. She said, no, you write biographical stories, right? And I had just started storytelling as a format because I was saying good evening on live stages so much. I felt I needed an artistic outlet to this. Again, I was too comfortable being a host. And it was easy for me to make money now. But what else was I going to think? And it was an inner question. So I started writing my own stories, 5-minute stories, and I started sharing it. So my literary agent saw those stories and said, oh, great, I've seen about 6 stories. You just have to write 20 more stories. And you'll have a book. When you break down such a big process into bits, which is basically the sum of all parts, right?
All your processes.
All your processes, you put it down, and it was easy for me to do. And yes, there were days because I was writing this during the pandemic. There were days when I didn't want to write. I didn't want, it was overbearing. Like, God, it's not easy to take a jog into your memory lane and be like, oh, let's talk about abuse.
It impacts.
It's not a walk in the park, man.
It
It's like tough shit to sit and deal with, and yet find a human element in there where you find the kindness and you find the forgiveness, not for anyone else, but for yourself. And say, it's done. Can I at least laugh about it? It's done. It's behind me. I'm free today. Can I have a smile about that? And that became a freeing moment. When it was a freeing moment for me, and I saw it shape up, I was like, this could be for anyone. Because we are never alone in our trauma, and I don't want to celebrate trauma for what it is, because I feel trauma is an essential part of your growth.
I think trauma is just the depressing part. It is how you come out of that trauma. Where lies the good bits? So usually what I've seen is people focusing on trauma. That okay, मेरे साथ ये हो रहा है, सामने वाले के साथ ये हुआ, हम भाई भाई. No, bro, हम भाई भाई तब बनेंगे जब when you realize that how that person got out of that trauma, use that knowledge and probably apply to your situation. You own it, make it your own, and you also come out. Then you can say, okay, you went through that, I went through that, we both came out stronger.
Yeah. I truly feel there is so much courage. And you know what? I'm very, very proud of sharing this. So maybe like a few years ago, and this is a segue into something that we never thought we were going to be discussing. But, I've realized there is mad strength in having women friends around you. There's a very different syllabus for the women who are excelling in the world today, which was by definition made for a patriarchy and a patriarchal society that we live in. It supports men in general. But you meet these wonderful women. I recognize this because I have been in my masculine for such a long time. It's just by default. No one asked me to become like you to work in this society. Yeah. But it was just monkey see, monkey do. I saw you, I became you. But then when I started meeting my girlfriends who are also entrepreneurs, who are business women, who are strong, badass women, right? I was like, wow, there are other skill sets that are required for you to maneuver in this world and to still make it. So there is this constant thing that no, women sit in trauma bond. Trust me, women aren't trauma bonding these days. They're actually sitting and finding solutions for every problem that we have. And it's true, no? We've been problem solving for years. I've seen my mom problem solve for decades of raising us.
Housewives have the hardest job in the world.
It's the hardest thing. How do we minimize the most overlooked, job in the world? Being a mother, being a housewife. We just go out there and celebrate the woman who's the CEO, and we must, because God knows how much she's like Papad Belo to get there. But there were certain skill sets that took her there. And when she's reached them, she's like, wow, yaar, now let me unlock the other skill sets. Now let me flourish. Now let me bloom. Now let me grow. And I'm telling you, there is no greater teacher than the adversity that leads you to success.
So with all of this, you must have faced creative block at some point of time.
Yeah. I've said I don't want to write.
How did you overcome that?
Beyond this, itna hi acting ho sakta hai.
But did you come out of it? Ki nahi, aur karna hai. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, I know it may sound like I'm just randomly flubbing around, but I went into this reality show, right, recently. Yeah. I was starved of inspiration for 30 days. And I realized I need something alive around me all the time to be inspired. When I came out and I saw Hawa, real life, real leaves, living beings, cats, people to talk to, I was unleashed with creativity. So sometimes I guess it's inevitable that your mind shuts down and you go into a starvation of creativity. No problem. As far as you know, your core is creative. And I think our core as human beings is creative. Because without creativity, we would not become as adaptable as we are. We are very adaptive, man. Extremely adaptive. And that could not happen without creativity. How do we forget that? We just get scared when it gets shut down. It's okay. Let it shut down. Get close to yourself. Do whatever it takes. Climb that mountain. It's random, but one day I felt my creativity was mad blocked. And I know when I'm doing it, like I'm aware of it now. My creativity is blocked when I'm sitting and doom scrolling. My creativity is blocked when, and I'm sure most of us are guilty of this, when we are watching TV and we are on our phone and we are not even...
I'm not even listening.
We are not even watching.
It's background noise at that time.
It's background noise. And something interesting will happen and we look like squirrel. Squirrel.
And we have half knowledge after that because we only heard half the sentence.
Correct. And we have opinions also. I find myself in those moments when I'm like, no, I need to ground myself. And I need to bring myself to me as often as possible so that this creativity can stall, but it won't be blocked.
If I may ask you, what does the future for you look like? What is your next game? See, you have been an author. No, I'll ask you. I'm asking about the new game. And I'll give you an idea. So you have done hiking, trekking, the adventure sports, tick. Acting, tick. Author, tick. I think the only avenue left is business.
Yeah.
Is that your next thing?
But I also feel that I'm at a stage right now where I'm an artrepreneur.
Artrepreneur, okay.
Because my business is creativity. My business is to create art. And why can't that have a future of its own? Now, what future? It's beautiful when we just allow it to reveal itself. But I feel like I have this power in me to use voice, to use body, to use movement, to use mind, to use heart, to use creativity, to use emotion, to build something. And I think there's no end to it. There is no end to it.
Yeah, the abundance mentality.
The minute you realize that, you're just pretty damn sure that the next 10 years are going to reveal itself. The next 15 years are going to reveal itself.
So you always had a plan A and a plan B. Based on your plan A, where do you see yourself in 5 years now?
I think I left plan A a long time ago.
Let's go plan C, yeah.
Plan A plus, A plus plus, A plus plus plus, A plus gold star.
Any
Because
plan.
so many things,
See, I understand there's gonna be multiple tangents. Okay,
Yeah,
it can go in any particular format, any particular manner, any particular country.
correct.
So
I feel there is
let's
so much of the world left. There is so many of the stages in the world left. Like, for example, I'm sitting in Mumbai and I'm called in for an audition to be a part of one of the biggest science fiction shows made in the history of the world so far. Like, I really take a lot of pride in this show called Foundation, which is on Apple TV.
yeah.
And I auditioned for it in Aram Nagar. That was beyond, forget my dreams, Sharad. It was beyond my imagination. I go, I fulfill that project, I come back, and I know that I've just opened the door ajar for many, many more such opportunities for me to go out there and find. So I just feel like not putting yourself into boundaries, which is what we literally started talking about, by how you do a lot of things. I think there is a sense in that, as far as you're true to that ultimate goal of yours, where I really feel like I value myself a lot to understand that, like, I'm a gift that's giving. I'm able to, use my voice, my platform, my stage to continue to share, to continue to grow. And I think as far as you are in the process of evolution, everything else around you is developing too.
100%.
And
Yeah.
the thing is that I like the ambiguity of it.
So basically, if you want it enough and you are ready to
Because
work for
whatever
it,
I wanted, trust me, I felt I really, today, I feel I've got a lot more than that.
definitely.
And it is not a light feat. It's not an ordinary thing. I remember I walked into a friend's store right after Sacred Games, which was like an 8-year journey for me. No, like, yeah, like an 8-year journey. I came to Mumbai in 2010. So it was an 8-year journey. And I said to this friend, he said, very good, huh? You're doing very well. Very well, you're doing. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, thanks, yeah, but it's taken 8 years to get here. And he said, don't be silly, girl. People have been here for 25 years and they have not moved.
100%. Yeah.
So when you look at just, I cannot take what I've got for granted. There have been some factors in play which are beyond my imagination. I'm grateful for those. I know that I'm cognizant of opportunities even like this. Like, I literally walked in and I said, wow, I love podcasts because they allow me to clear my head.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It feels like a banging therapy
Yeah.
session. Don't we? Like, just sitting,
Somebody
sitting
asking questions.
chit-chatting,
Okay.
unlocking your own superpowers.
Give
You're like,
me.
yeah, this is what drove you to be this superhero that you are. But I feel all of this, like, I think you can achieve a lot in your life.
100%.
And there are
Yeah.
no boundaries to it. As far as you believe at your core that you are enough and you're not constantly seeking validation from the outside world for your achievements, you need to know that everything that you're doing from the wholest part of you.
So
Like,
to
the most wholesome part of you,
Understood.
wholesome part of you, and yeah.
To sum it up in a phrase, basically, you are the driver of the vehicle of your life, and the vehicle is loaded to take you wherever you need to go. Now, it's the driver's job to make sure you get there.
Then you cannot be like sleeping off on the wheel
Then,
because dreams. No.
of course, you
Do
do
you
not even have.
understand? I think
You
that's
have
very
fuel, but you don't have airbags.
You don't.
Perfect. So after all this heavy conversation, I just have some fun quick fire questions,
Yay.
which will lighten the mood. As you said that this became a therapy session, and somehow I became the therapist.
Thank you.
So
No,
let's
I
make
really
sure.
learned a lot from you because there were like these easy, simple, non-negotiables, which you taught me in the course of this conversation, which are just the way it is. And now when you recognize it's the way it is, then just start adopting those measures instead of questioning those measures. I think as creators, as entrepreneurs, as business people, When there is a principle, we question the principle instead of just trying the principle.
100% to
Try
say,
the
yeah,
principle, fail. Instead of questioning it over and over again, you will be far more successful.
100%, yes. So we always hog more knowledge and we have no way to use it.
No truer words.
No truer words, yeah. Thank you so much. So now the fun quick fire questions.
Yeah.
One actor you would love to share the screen with, Indian or international?
Yeah, listen, I'm actually, most people, see, I would love to work with Shah Rukh Khan. I would love to share screen with him as an actor. And I think that's a dream for just anyone who ever moves to Mumbai, right?
Okay.
I also want to work with Amitabh Bachchan. But this is it's just like hardcore dreams. You just have these dreams if you are an outsider and you've come to Mumbai. But look around me and there are so many phenomenal actors in today's landscape of entertainment. I think it would be a privilege to work with any of them and every single one of them. And I think if we have enough stories there, oh man.
This basically shows how humble you are even at the stage of your career. Second, one habit that actually saves you or saves your mental health, that keeps you sane.
Consistency. And when you find it hard, that's the day you should show up and do the least, like the most bare minimum effort towards that consistency. For example, consistency is about showing up to the gym. And there are days when I wake up and I will not be able, so what I started doing, I started recording my morning jokes right after I get ready. So I'll wear my gym outfit and I'll record my thing. And I'm in such a good dopamine hit of the moment that I will go to the gym straight away. And I do this every day. So start throwing in a fun element that will trigger your mind to go for that consistent thing that you need to do. And if there are days that are hard, wear your gym clothes, just open your mat and stand on your mat for 2 minutes. The bare minimum that you can do for your habit and for your consistency, do it. And never miss 2 days in a row. Works.
Awesome. So you have already written a book. Now, which is your go-to book apart from that?
Oh, I have a few. And the one that I love the most, and please don't hate me because I don't remember the author's name right now, but it is The Courage to be Disliked. So it's a mad book, which I recently read. Everyone talks about the philosophy of, Freud and, that school of psychology. This is Adler's school of psychology, that change is within your limits and change can happen the minute you choose.
I think you should also read Hard Things About Hard Things.
I like hard things about hard things. I love hard things about hard things.
So now you have worked with Salman and
Hard Things About Hard Things is a banging book.
I think that's a more spot on in your face kind of book.
Yeah.
ये ऐसा ही है.
ये ऐसा ही है.
बस simple.
The minute you look at ये ऐसा ही है, find another way to get there. I like Blink, which is listening to your immediate intuition. I loved reading Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. Like Think Fast, Think Slow. There are so many books just to teach you to maneuver
your life, your communication,
your mind, because you realize that your mind is the biggest villain. And it's really, the minute you recognize that, I think it gets kind of easier, because you realize, oh, this is just a part of the process, but I am the hero. Hero always wins, not the villain.
I think what most people realize today is manifestation. बस manifest करो और हो जाएगा.
नहीं भाई, manifestation के लिए करना पड़ता है.
काम तो करना पड़ेगा. So now you have worked.
intention, मगर उस intention के लिए काम तो करना पड़ेगा ना. 2 कदम आगे. Like it's so bizarre. I had not really understood manifestation as a feeling, as a theory before. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't know how exactly to do it, perhaps. And I don't know how actively I still do it, but I know I work in the same.
Principles are the same.
Yeah, principles are the same. But I remember saying this. I said, I need to go out. I need to do these auditions. I need to put myself out there. It's no way that I can say, oh, I manifest to do this, and the director is going to ring my doorbell and give me the opportunity if I'm sitting in my house every day.
And even welcome me with a red carpet. आ जाओ. Not gonna happen.
Udhar bhi I
100%.
have to welcome with red carpet, boss. So I said, no need. This will not happen. You need to go out there and do this for yourself. And this is the reason why there is a lot of doing involved.
Perfect. So one last question, which is the fun one. You have worked with both Salman and Ranveer. Which one is more fun on set?
Both are really fun, but and they're so different in their own ways, right? Because SK is old school, and he's the big feeder. He's the big leader. He wants to get people together. He wants to feed you and take care of you. His hospitality skills unmatched, and Ranveer Singh's emotional skills unmatched. Like, this guy will spot you in the middle of the most crowded room and give you the biggest hug. And somehow, surprisingly, he has a mad bandwidth to remember people and people's people.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
He's really good. He's extremely sharp, and I love that about him and I think I called Ranveer my friend. So that's easier.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kubra. That was a lot to take in. I think we learned a lot about how you can be consistent, how you just have to put your head and say that, okay, this is what I want and I'm going to work for it, and sooner or later I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
At the same time, explore life. Life is inevitable and things are going to happen. Your priorities are going to change. So while you go through this journey, you make sure that you enjoy those small time pieces or time blocks that you get. So if you travel, you may extend it by a day. If you travel for work, is what I meant. But all in all, build something which makes you happy. At the end of the day, that's what matters. If you are not happy, whatever you're chasing, you will feel empty. That's what I think got you from Dubai to Mumbai, and I think that's what keeps you going. And that's something anybody listening to this particular podcast can remember as a nutshell. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening with such curiosity. Genuinely, I didn't feel I was meeting you for the first time. And it's been such a wonderful conversation, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Likewise. It's so easy to talk to you, and I think the conversation was so free flowing. So thank you so much for being so open with us. Thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned for more.